You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WLAK Daily News Roundup for Lake Air, 107.5 FM and 1260 AM in Amory.
For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly. Douglas County residents have been invited to provide feedback on new proposed flood maps for the area. The flood maps were developed by the Federal Emergency Management Agency with assistance from local and state officials. Douglas County property owners have 90 days from August 1st to share concerns or raise questions about the new maps before they're finalized. FEMA officials will then notify residents of the effective date for the final maps after reviewing all appeals and comments that they receive from area residents. Spooner health officials are inviting area residents with neurological disorders like MS or Parkinson's disease to a new program aimed at improving their mobility and quality of life. The Power Up Voice and Movement Group seeks to help those residents maintain the level of physical movement needed for speech and mobility so they can live as independently as possible. Classes are held on the second Wednesday of each month from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at Spooner Health and feature exercises, activities, and guest speakers on topics like planning and medication management. A Wisconsin appeals court has ruled that private text messages and messages sent through private apps by public officials in the state can be released if they involve public business. The ruling stems from a lawsuit that accused former Natural Resources Board Chair Frederick Pren of unlawfully withholding public records, including private text messages between him and then-Governor Scott Walker. The appeals court also ruled that the public officials can be held accountable for legal fees in cases where the court finds that the records should be released. A Clear Lake woman has died as a result of the injuries she sustained in a recent St. Croix County crash. According to the St. Croix County Sheriff's Office, 42-year-old Ashley Rosen was airlifted from the scene of the July 25th crash involving a semi-truck on County Trunk Highway G. She was taken to Regions Hospital in St. Paul, where she was pronounced deceased on Friday. The driver of the semi-truck was treated for non-life-threatening injuries at a New Richmond hospital. The Sheriff's Office is still investigating the circumstances of the crash. The Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection is now accepting applications for the Buy Local, Buy Wisconsin grant program. According to a press release, the agency will distribute a total of up to $200,000 in grant funding this year. The program aims to bolster the state's agricultural and food industries by helping local farms and businesses improve efficiency in processing, marketing, and distributing locally grown food products. Grant funding applications will be accepted until September 15th. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is again urging residents to be on the lookout for signs of spongy moth infestations on their trees. The invasive species has been spreading across the state over recent years, prompting treatment flights and trapping efforts in the western Wisconsin region. Trees that are infected by the spongy moths would show signs of drought and defoliation of their leaves, which the species eats during their larva stage. If residents do see signs of an infestation, they should contact the agency as soon as possible. The Washburn County Health and Human Services Department is seeking applicants for a full-time public health nurse position. According to a press release, the public health nurse will be responsible for the assessment, assurance, and policy development of public health functions for the community. Interested applicants must have a bachelor's degree from an accredited school of nursing and a current Wisconsin registered nurse license. More information on the position and a link to download the application can be found on the Washburn County website. Xcel Energy has announced construction work on the Ashland Ironwood transmission rebuild project will get underway in the coming weeks. According to a press release, the first phase of construction is set to begin in Hurley, with phased activity across the entire project area through 2028. The project will see the replacement of two older transmission lines between the Gingles substation near Ashland and the Ironwood substation. It will also see the elimination of aging infrastructure crossing the Bad River Band of Lake Superior Chippewa Reservation. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services is urging families to get their children up to date on vaccinations ahead of the school year. According to data from the previous school year, only about 86% of students in the state met the minimum vaccination requirements. The agency also reported the first confirmed measles cases of the year over the weekend, as kids are set to return to the classroom over the coming weeks. Health officials are urging families to get the MMR vaccine for their children to prevent further spread of the highly contagious virus. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul has announced the release of funding that had previously been withdrawn by the U.S. Department of Education following the filing of a multi-state lawsuit. According to a press release, the Trump administration froze the funding for 6 programs on June 30th. The multi-state coalition filed the lawsuit in July, arguing the move violated federal law and the constitutional separation of powers doctrine. This week, Attorney General Kaul announced that an estimated $72 million of funding for Wisconsin had been unfrozen. For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly.
Brewer baseball tonight. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports, where the Brewers take on the Braves for Game 3 of their series in Atlanta. The Brewers with a 7-2 victory last night, their 5th win in a row. Pat Murphy.
You really have to be disciplined right now. More than ever before, we got to be disciplined. It's how we play and the mindset we're in when we play, because circumstances say ball could have bounced the other way and we're not, those numbers aren't there. You know, you have to just be consistent in how you prepare and be attached to your process, not your results.
NFL, he's slated to be their starting defensive back to replace Jair Alexander, but Nate Hobbs will miss all of the preseason games after having knee surgery over the weekend. It happened last Thursday in practice.
I'm just happy that it wasn't nothing more serious.
What's meniscus?
That was a meniscus.
Okay, and right knee, I assume.
Right knee, yes, sir. I'm committed, as I say I am.
That's Packers defensive back Nate Hobbs with Sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Sci-fi fans, in particular those who are fans of the show Invasion, will be happy to know that Apple TV just dropped a trailer for Season 3. The show follows 5 people who deal with an alien invasion from around the world. According to Deadline, Season 3 drops Friday, August 22nd on Apple TV, with new episodes dropping Friday nights through October 24th. Sylvester Stallone has made a few great movies, but a lot of stories that have come out about him over the years are not so flattering. Years ago, Pamela Anderson alleged that Rambo offered her a Porsche and/or a condo to be his number 1 girl. He supposedly did not deny there were other numbered girls and said, "You're in Hollywood now, honey." Cringe. Anderson says she rejected his offer, and Stallone's reps say it never happened. Anderson is allegedly dating her Naked Gun co-star Liam Neeson, who only offered her an 88 Chevy Chevette and an efficiency apartment. She accepted. It must be love. How much is Leo DiCaprio worth? In the neighborhood of $30 to $50 million, according to Warner Brothers and Michael Mann. Mann has a finished script for Heat 2, his follow-up to his 1995 film Heat. Attached so far are actors Austin Butler and Adam Driver. Mann's ideal budget is $200 million, which Warner Brothers balked at. Mann did a revised budget for $170 million, and Warner's told him they would like it to be even less expensive. Mann's solution, according to Hollywood Insider, is to sign Leonardo DiCaprio in hopes that it will get Warner to sign off on a higher budget. The original film was a hit and starred Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer, and Ashley Judd. The sequel will focus on tracking down Val Kilmer's character, who escaped in the first Heat. The film is not quite a lock to get made and is currently in the very early stages of pre-production. Actor Jonathan Joss was fatally shot outside his home after a fight with a neighbor in early June. Joss had played John Redcorn on King of the Hill since 1996 after the original voice actor who played Redcorn passed away. Redcorn was honored during the season 14 finale of the show Monday night. Zigfredo Alvarez was charged with first-degree murder after the shooting, but was later released on a $200,000 bond. San Antonio police initially said the murder of Joss, who was gay, had nothing to do with his sexuality, but have since walked that back, saying that they spoke too soon, and the investigation is ongoing. San Antonio Police Chief William McManus recently expressed sympathy to the San Antonio LGBTQ+ community over the loss of Joss and says the department is committed to pursuing every lead in the tragic case. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
With your forecast, I'm Corey Hartman. For today, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 80s. Some showers and storms possible this afternoon. A few storms tonight, lows around 68. Scattered storm possible on Thursday, otherwise mostly sunny and 86. For Thursday night, partly cloudy and 69.
Currently 66 degrees.
That's your WLAK Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at lakeair.radio. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.